Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Michelle. This is your wish fulfilled on YouTube, and real short video today. There is some question as to whether or not subliminals work. Okay, first of all, we need to differentiate a subliminal, what a subliminal actually is supposed to be, versus an audible affirmation that you listen to like overnight, but you can still hear it. Okay. Um, and they both work. Okay. Um, which one you should be using all depends on how you feel. Okay. Everything, any kind of manifestation technique, you guys, if you are wondering whether or not it's the best one for you to do, always ask yourself, how does it make you feel? If you have no feeling for it whatsoever, you could take it or toss it. It's probably not going to be the technique for you. If it's something that actually makes you feel good, it brings you into that state of knowing that Neville talks about. Really, all knowing is just a feeling state of certainty, just knowing, being certain, feeling certain. Um, that's the technique to stay with. When it comes to subliminals, and whether or not they work. Okay, yes, there are actual studies. Okay, I'm going to read you a brief little article in Scientific American where they have been doing studies as recently, I believe, 1999, because there used to be in this community, there used to be some question as to whether or not subliminals worked, had any effect or anything like that. And this is why, you guys, I personally, I don't get hung up on scientific studies, because, and I'm sure you've seen it. Okay, so as far as subliminals go, okay, they supposedly did studies, in the 40s, 50s, 60s, more so in, like, I think it was the 50s, 60s, and 70s, where they were like, they did studies, and studies show back then that subliminals didn't have a whole lot of influence on people. Okay, fast forward to, like, late 90s, 2000s, they started doing a whole lot of different studies. Maybe, I don't know, science probably did some advancements. Imaging, like brain imaging was introduced into the study, where they were actually able to see that, yes, they do. Subliminals actually do show some influence over, over a person's life. And I'll get to the article so that I can put it in its proper context. But that's why I personally don't get hung up on scientific studies, because they're constantly changing. What scientific studies show, was one thing 50 years ago. New scientific studies are showing completely different now. Okay. But personal experience, I can tell you that subliminals do work, because there's always a part of your mind that is on constantly, even when your conscious mind is sleeping. Okay, so I personally, when it comes to subliminals, I use audible affirmations while I'm sleeping, meaning either I'll record, kind of like an affirmation tape, on an MP3 or whatever, and play it back on my phone. There's actually an app called Think Up, where and I'm not an affiliate, and actually I need to see if I can go become one, because I'm going to be recommending it quite a bit. I might even link it in the description box below. Um, hold on. And this app is so cool. So it's called Think Up. Okay. It's one word, THINK, think, and then up, but it's like one word. Okay. And if you buy the actual membership or the subscription, I do mine annually. It's like $40 a year. Okay. You can record as many affirmations as you want, and you do one at a time. So at any point in time, if you feel like one affirmation it's not meshing well, or maybe you want to tweak that affirmation, you can just delete that one recording of that one affirmation and not have to go back and do the entire tape. Okay, because I don't know about you, but I've done tapes. Like, I actually do have some subliminals on my channel, right? and I've done subliminals myself where it's just one continuously long tape. And I would be like, oh, I wish I could change that, just that one section, right? But then I would have to go back and record the whole thing. No, this app, Think Up, has it where you can record each individual affirmation. So if there's one affirmation, maybe you don't like it anymore, you can just delete it out, or you can delete it out and re-record it, revamp it, stuff like that. And then you can just set it to loop. Okay. It's really, I love it. I've actually been using it for almost a year now. Okay. But personal experience as far as whether or not, subliminals work. Okay. Your mind is picking up on what is happening in your environment, even when you're sleeping. Okay. Even when your conscious mind is asleep. And I know this from personal experience because there have been times in my dreams where I can hear that playing in the background in my dreams. Okay. Like that tape will be a part of my actual dream. There have been other times when, like, say sometimes I'll fall asleep when listening to like maybe a YouTube video or my big thing. And I don't do this anymore because I'm very, very conscientious about what I'm being programmed with. But I went to bed before watching like crime scene documentaries, and I fell asleep one time listening to a crime scene documentary, and I had some really messed up dreams. And that's what I realized was like, oh, my mind was picking up on that while I was sleeping. So, knowing that our subconscious mind is being programmed and influenced by repetition, right? And knowing that our subconscious mind, there's a part of our mind that is picking up on things even while we're sleeping. Subliminals, for me, are like the fastest way to do that. Okay. Now, it is very important too, though, that you are using those same affirmations during the day, because it's like the conscious mind and the subconscious mind need to be kind of like in alignment. Is it absolutely 100% necessary? No, because actual subliminals, okay, like I said earlier in the video, a subliminal as it's intended is where you can't hear it. It's inaudible. Okay. Your conscious mind isn't picking up on it, but your subconscious mind is. I do have those kind of subliminals on my channel as well. My favorite, though, is the audible. Okay, basically they're affirmations you put on loop that you listen to while you're sleeping. I like to go to sleep listening to my affirmations, and even when I'm doing sats. Okay, it's just helped so much more. And there's been several times where when I was manifesting in an SP that I've had those exact affirmations that I was playing on a loop at night while I'm sleeping, repeated back to me, sometimes verbatim by my SP. Okay, so my personal experience is that yes, subliminals absolutely do work. It's one of the fastest ways, I believe, besides SATs, to program specific affirmations into your subconscious. Okay, so it says here that in the late 1960s to the 1980s, scientific studies throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s tended to discredit the claims that subliminal messages could subtly influence behavior. Okay. And then in the 1990s, it says, although many studies continue to discredit the claim that subliminal messages carried any psychological weight, other research started to uncover subtle effects. All right. In one such study from 1992, participants viewed images of a person engaged in normal daily activity. After each image, researchers quickly flashed a photograph, which was of half the viewers saw positive, uplifting content, while the other half saw negative content. So those who saw negative messages reported thinking of a photographed person in a more damaging light. Okay. In the early 2000s, research continued to show that subliminal messages do influence our perceptions. The effect is just subtler than what was previously thought. And in 2006, studies have shown subliminal messages may work in advertising after all. Okay. In 2006, a study found that participants flashed an image of a brand name drink. In this case, it was, I won't say it here, just so I don't want to get dinged. It's a tea, a kind of tea. Were more likely to choose that brand of tea to quench their thirst. It says this association only held up, however, if participants were already thirsty. Okay. Anyway, and then it says in 2007, it showed there were studies that were starting to show that subliminal messages may also enhance academic performance. And it says from 2010 to 2015, imaging studies have shown that our brain responds to subliminal messages in measurable ways, okay? Activity levels change in the amygdala, which processes emotion, the insula, which is involved in conscious awareness, the hippocampus, which is involved in processing memories, and the visual cortex, okay? So they're actually, like, studies are now showing, probably now because they have, like, equipment has been able to catch up, right? Like, they're actually able to see on brain imaging equipment how subliminals, and they're talking about suggestive, like where you're not able to hear it, inaudible, right? And that may be why it's more subtle, because your conscious mind isn't picking up on it. That's why I personally like conscious, like listening, hearing things consciously and hearing those as I'm falling to sleep, because my conscious mind is already in alignment and in support of the conscious mind, the subconscious mind being programmed with those affirmations, if that makes sense. But this video is just about whether or not subliminals work. Yes, they do. Okay. Yes, they do. I have seen movement in, both my conscious manifestations and just kind of like living life in general. Okay. That your mind, there's a part of your mind picking up on things even when your conscious mind is not involved and is or is sleeping. Okay. All right, you guys, that was the video. I know that it resonated. Do me a favor, smash the like button below. Also comment, let me know what you thought, especially if you have any questions. While I may not always be answering questions like directly under the comments, I am starting now to take those comments and actually answer them in videos. So make sure you're definitely hitting that subscribe button. I will try and be a lot better, though, at letting you guys know that is going to be answered in a later video or something, so you're not left hanging. I'm trying to get better about structuring, how I do things. All right, you guys. Yeah, I'll be back with some more content very, very soon. Okay, love you.